Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're first time here. I'm May, and today's video is going to be get to know me and my bookish opinions. So I've been making YouTube content for about 6 months, and I thought it'd be a fun little video to do like a get to know me and my reading opinions, my reading habits, my get to know me as a reader pretty much. So I asked some friends like some topics I'd like to know my opinion on, and I have picked 6, and they're going to have their own categories of like, they're going to own a little segment of this video that I'll like dive into about how I feel and why I feel that way. And we can have an open discussion. Like, this isn't meant to upset anyone. This isn't meant to cause any arguments. I just wanted you guys to get a deeper insight into me as a reader. And if you feel differently, you can tell me in the comments. Politely, please. If you feel the same, you can also tell me in the comments. But I just feel like I wanted to like give some thought to me and my reading, you know, because not everyone feels the same. Reading's very subjective. And I love hearing people's opinions on these kinds of things. Because like I love having like good, educated, polite conversations about different topics, even if we feel differently. I just love the engagement of it all. So the 6 topics are going to be my opinion on DNFing, my opinion on special editions, my opinion on owning more than one copy of a book, my opinion on Romantsy, my opinion on book marketing with Tropes, and the last one is paperback versus hardback. First category is DNFing. I am not a DNFer, and I have a great way of explaining this that maybe you'll understand, and I even have a book to give an example of this. So the reason why I am not a DNFer is because sometimes I think you have to give an author a chance to give their footing, and I have read probably 20 books that I have wanted to DNF and I haven't DNF that have ended up being 5 stars, if not more than that. I'm just like thinking of 20 off the top of my head, and I know that's not everyone's experience, and that's totally fine. But since I've had that happen so much, I have become very hesitant to ever DNF a book. Because I've had so many books where I'm like, oh my god, this isn't good in the beginning, and then it ends up wowing me, like absolutely wowing me in like the later parts. And the way that I've started to see it is that DNFing books is kind of like a cup of tea. Like, if you make a cup of tea and you put the tea bag in and you try to drink it right away, you're not getting the full flavor of the book. You're just getting the very initial parts of the tea, and you might not have a very strong reaction to it. You might be like, oh, I don't like this. But if you let the tea steep for long periods of time, you're getting the full flavor of the tea. That's exactly how I feel about books. Sometimes I think you have to finish a book for you to fully understand what was happening. And this is just my personal opinion. Like I said, I have an example of this that I'm going to show to back me up. And I just feel like sometimes you have to literally you'll be like, oh, this book is so heavy on word building, it's kind of boring. But then you read into the end, you're like, oh my god, that makes sense why it was so heavy. It needed to be set up for blah, 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 blah. And I actually have 2 examples now that I'm thinking about it. So I think it as like letting the book steep, letting the book build to get the full picture. And that's how I see DNFing. I do DNF on very small occasions, like if the book is triggering, if the book is like problematic, if the book is just downright fucking horrible and can't come back from it, like if the writing's like very pop culture references, like if they mention Taylor Swift in a book, I'm pretty much gonna DNF it. Not because Taylor Swift's a bad person, but I don't like when there's modern references in my books at all. Taylor Swift's a great person. Like, I think she's great. But I don't want like Taylor Swift or like The Bachelorette. I don't like any kind of pop culture references at all. Like, sometimes they'll mention like the Hunger Games or like the Harry Potter movies. I don't want any of that at all. Like, not at all. Like, I want you to create a world of your own. That's why I'm reading. If I wanted pop culture references, I would turn on the news. Like, I want to escape from my world. So give me none of that. So those are the occasions that I pretty much only DNF. And I think I've maybe only DNF like 15 times out of 400 books that I've read. So on to the examples of books that back up my theory of like DNFing's like letting you know, a cup of tea pretty much. I have 2. So the first one that I'm thinking of is the second book in the Parallel series, which is called Reckless. I know so many people that hate that book. And you know why they hate the book? They're like, oh my god, nothing happens. It's just back and forth. It's so much world building, but nothing happens. It's like 500 pages of nothing. And then you read book 3 and you're like, oh my god. Oh my god, that all makes sense. And the author has even said like, hey, this is meant to be a plot, like a world building book, because I have to do this to get to the big stuff in book 3. And you don't have to agree with that. And you don't have to want that. But I think that like, to me, that justifies not DNFing it to me. Like, if I'm like, okay, I have to get through all this stuff to get to the good stuff. That is my first example of this theory. My second example is actually a book series that I own, so let me grab it. Okay, so this is the main reason I have this theory. King of Battle and Blood. Everyone that I know that has read this has absolutely loved this book to pieces. Absolutely loved it, has raved about it. Queen of Myth and Monsters, every single one of my friends DNF'd it. Every single one of them DNF'd this book. I was like, what the heck is happening in this book that everyone wants to DNF? So I read it and I saw what was making them want to DNF. And I was like, well, I want to read past this because I want to know, you know, like if it's worth the read. Like, I'm gonna be the one out of my friend group to finish this. And I did finish it. I ended up giving this 5 stars. And I'm the only one that knows what happens, because everyone complained that, like, the main characters don't feel the same, they feel like different characters. There's a reason for that. It was done on purpose, and you don't know that unless you finish the entire book. Like, everyone was DNFing like 20-30%. If you get to like 60-70%, it all starts to click and you're like, holy bejesus. Like, the author did it on purpose. It wasn't like an accident. It wasn't bad writing. It was actually great writing. It was actually phenomenal writing. And I get it. If you don't want to take the chance, you don't take the chance. I don't have anything against DNFers. If that's your style, that's your style. This is just my personal opinion and my theory about it. And every time I think about DNF in a book, I think about this case where I'm like, okay, that book made me think that it was going to suck. But then everything ended up being connected in a web of, like, everything ended up being picture perfect. Like, it was phenomenal. And I'm the only one in my friend group that knows. Still to this day, no one else knows. I've even told them, like, hey, like, if you just read the end of the book, you'll understand. They're like, no, I don't really want to. And I'm like, that's fine. That's totally fine. But I'm the only one that knows that it was all done on purpose. It was a mastermind situation of, like, okay. Like, she's a mastermind. Not to reference Taylor Swift after I just said I don't like pop culture references. But, like, the author did it on purpose. Like, it wasn't bad writing. Like, that's how people think it is. And you don't know that unless you don't DNF. So this is my backing of my theory. And if you don't agree, that's totally okay. I just think that you have to give some time to brew. Like, I personally don't judge a book before 100 pages. Like, I give it until 100 pages before I judge it. Like, at all. Like, I literally say, okay, I'm gonna read this 100 pages and then I'll get, like, an opinion, because I think that that's, like, a fair judgment for me. Like, you know, 100 pages, you've met the characters, you're getting the word building, you're getting the start of probably, like, what's actually going to happen. And I think for me, I could never DNF before 100 pages, unless it was, like, in the examples I just gave of, like, triggering or problematic or just really cliche, nasty writing. Those are different. Like, I don't think even, like the other day, I had, like, a book that I had read that was, like, I was literally 50 pages away. Something happened that I didn't like, and I was like, well, I'm 50 pages away. I might as well just finish it. I'm a completist. That's also part of it. I hate leaving things unfinished. I am. Maybe it's the ADHD, maybe it's the autism, maybe it's just who I am. Maybe it's all of it put into one. But I love completing things. I love being like, I did it. I love the serotonin that it gives me to be able to say that I completed something. Like, it gives me such a book high to be like, yay, I did it. I also won't lie to you guys, I love rage reading a book. Like, if a book is genuinely bad, sometimes I get enjoyment out of reading it and being like, you fucking suck. You suck. I love doing that. I mean, is that messy? Probably. And I don't say it to the author, like, while I'm reading it, I'll be like, oh my god, this is so bad, like, it's so horrific. Like, I'm almost laughing at it. It's kind of like Glee, where it's so bad that it's good. It's one of those situations where it's like, you're not actually enjoying it. You're actually just, like, laughing at how bad it is, and you're enjoying the laughing at how bad it is. That's how I take books sometimes. Like, sometimes I'm just like, okay, this book actually freaking sucks, but it's actually so funny that it sucks. So that's like my rough opinion of DNFing, and it's kind of crazy and it's kind of unhinged of me, honestly. The next category is special editions. I don't have the same opinion as most people do. I actually have opinion that a lot of people don't share. I love the special edition train that we're all on. I love the fact that special editions are now being accessible. A few years ago, you'd have to pay like $60, $70 to get a special edition. And now you can go to Barnes & Noble or BAM and get a special edition for like $30. I love that. I love when reading is accessible. And I understand that special editions are meant to be special. I do understand that logic, but I think that they can still be special while still being affordable. I don't think we should be paying into consumerism by paying literally like $80, $90 for a special edition book. It shouldn't have to be that way. Like, we should be able to buy a pretty book and it not like come out of our bill money. So I'm one of the few people, I feel like, because I've seen people all the time being like, if everything's special edition, it's not special. I disagree. I think if a book is released in a regular format, like no sprayed edges, and then they make a book with sprayed edges, that makes that book special in that series. Like, maybe it's not special in the entire library of books, but like, it's still special in that book. But I do have another side to this, of where I don't like special editions that are just there for no reason. Like a plain sprayed edge collar, I'm like, okay, that makes me question things. Like, if you're just giving me a sprayed edge that's like red, I do question that a little bit. But like, for example, like some of these, like one of those books, like I've gotten from Walmart for like $20, and they're like beautiful. Like, they're purple, they're sprayed edges, $20, and it's beautiful. That's how I think it should be, personally. I love accessibility. I love affordability. And to me, even though it's like overproduced, I just think that it's still special because, you know, I don't own very many special editions. So even though, you know, I own these, they're special on my shelf because I have so many non-sprayed edge ones. So the specialty of it still exists for me in my collection. Maybe you feel different if you collect like a ton of special editions. You're like, oh my god, they're producing so many special editions. I just personally feel like sometimes like the special editions really add to the book in such a beautiful way. And I will never be mad about that. I will never be mad of them making special editions in the way that they are. I mean, unless they're the pointless ones, like this red, blue, white. Well, it can't be white because then it wouldn't be special edition, but you mean like the black, like the ones that are just single collared? I hate those. Those are kind of dumb in my opinion, but still, love the fact that they're affordable and accessible. I love the fact that you can go to Walmart, BAM, Barnes & Noble. You don't have to order from different countries anymore. You don't have to order from special sites. Like, it has become very accessible, and I'll never be mad about that. The fact that people can just get them easily, but they still be special to that person, that's my gist on it. I love people having access to books and it not costing them an arm and a leg. Not saying that I haven't splurged before. I have. And if you do splurge, it's totally fine. I just, on the gist, like the whole general idea of like, is special editions being overdone? I personally say no. Because sometimes the special editions actually makes the book better. Like, sometimes it adds to like the theme of the book. Like, I know the Hunger Games special editions add so much to the story. Like the Sunrise and Reaping ones, it has like the quote on the side. I think that's so beautiful, and I think it gives you a better idea what's happening in those books. And they're affordable. You can go get them from your local bookstore. $30 maybe. And I think that shouldn't be a problem. My special editions are my prized possession. Were they affordable? Yes, but they're still special to me. So that's my gist on special editions. I just love accessibility and affordability as a reader who grew up poor. I grew up very, very poor. Like, my parents couldn't even afford to buy me paperbacks most of the time. I had to go to the library a lot or get them from like yard sales and stuff. So growing up, I have just really advocated for books to be affordable always. Special, not special. And I do understand sometimes the prices are high because they have to pay the artist. That's totally fine. I just still don't think they need to be higher than like, the highest that I think they should be is like $80. But I have seen special editions be like 200, 300. Gagged. I could never. I personally would never pay that much for a book. Like I said, if you do, that's totally fine. Okay. The third category of owning more than one book, owning more than one copy of a book. I am a minimalist. I won't say that I don't own a few copies of different books, but I don't do it a lot. Like, I have 2 copies of Tempest of Tea, and I have 2 copies of Shatter Me series, and I think those are the only double copies that I have on my entire shelf. And typically if I have a double copy, I end up giving it away to a friend. I'm not like an avid collector of like I need to go out and buy every edition of the book. I typically just buy like the special edition from the get-go that I want. Also, I'm sorry if I keep flipping you guys off. But I just end up going and buying like the special edition I want, and that's what I get from the get-go. But it's not because I don't like that idea. I just have so much, like, this is it. This is the only room I have for books. If this is full up, no more books. Like, so I'm a minimalist. Like, I only want like the very best books on my shelf. So if I had like 18 copies of Shatter Me, I would not have room for 17 other books that I would maybe really, really love. So to me, it's kind of like a trophy room. Like, you want to display your best and the ones that you're proud of and love, and the other ones maybe they're in their own little space, or maybe you just give them away, or you just don't even keep them. That's kind of how I feel about the book. So this is my trophy shelf. These are my trophies. These are, you know, my medals of honor. So I just feel I have nothing against it. I have some friends that do it, and I'm so happy for them. The next category is paperback versus hardback. I am a paperback girly. I'm a paperback girly through and through. You want to know why? Hardbacks hurt me. Hardbacks make my wrist literally hurt. I'm like limp wrist trying to read this book. Paperbacks are light. They're easy. I can hold them however I want. A paperback, I literally feel like I'm being weighed down by a weight. Like, I don't love how big and bulky a hardcover is, and almost always I take the dust jacket off. So then it's just like, okay, because a lot of times people like the hardcovers because of the pretty dust jackets. Well, since I'm already taking them off, that kind of defeats the purpose. I just love that a paperback feels like a treat on the go. Like, you can just grab it. It fits really easily into a small bag. It's like convenient. It's not a lot to have to hold. It doesn't weigh a lot. One time I had to fly home with a suitcase of hardcover books, and I thought I was literally, I could never do that again. I think hardcovers are beautiful. I just don't like the weight of them. Like, I can't read them well. Like, it really sags on my wrist. My wrist hates them. But I have a friend that loves hardcovers only. Like, she doesn't really like paperbacks. Totally valid. I personally, when I get a hardcover, it's like a special edition that I won't annotate, and then I do my paperbacks as my annotation copies. Like, if I'm gonna annotate, I always get a paperback. And then if I get a hardcover, that's like those are my special ones. Like, I don't want to do anything to them. So that's like the paperback versus hardback thing. I'm team paperback. Are you guys team paperback? Or are you team hardcover? Or are you team Kindle? Like, do you even not want to mess with physical books? Because that's also valid. Or maybe you don't even want to do digital reading at all. Maybe you like audiobooks. That's also valid. You can let me know. I love hearing people's takes. The next category, I'm doing this out of order, but I'm thinking about them as I think about them. Thinking, that's good. The next one is my opinion on marketing tropes. Listen, I have complicated feelings because I personally love knowing a trope before I go in so that I know it's a book that I love, but I also don't love when they're used wrong. Like, if you tell me it's an enemies to lovers, I'm buying it. I'm immediately cha-ching, swipe my card. I love enemies to lovers. If it's an enemies to lover, it's automatically at least getting a 4-star from me, unless you're horrific. But you tell me it's enemies to lovers, I'm eating it up. And I love when it's marketed like that because you know what you're going into. But there are 2 scenarios where I actually hate tropes. The one is when they're used wrong. So, like, if it's our contemporary romance and it's listed as enemies to lovers, and I'm like, babe, who enemies to lovers? Y'all just work in an office together. That's not enemies to lovers. That's just rivals. Like, rivals would be a better word. Or, like, one time I saw this golf book that was like, touch her and you die. I'm like, you literally play golf, or you're gonna beat them with your golf stick? What are they called? I don't know what they're called. But, like, what do you mean touch her and die? Those enemies to lovers is for fantasy only. Like, fantasy, romantasy only. It gives me the genuine ick if I see them in contemporary and romance books. What do you mean? That is not what they're supposed to be. And I hate it. I hate when I see a contemporary romance listed as enemies to lovers. I'm like, what? Enemies to lovers is like they're literally fighting and then they stop fighting and make out. If you're not literally have a knife to their throat, do not call it enemies to lovers. If it's just, oh my god, we work next door to each other and he ate the last donut, I hate him so much, don't call it enemies to lovers or I'm gonna beef with you personally. I get very riled up about that one. I do, because I think it's just mismarketing. Because it simply can't be enemies to lovers. Enemies to lovers is like, you want them dead. You simply want them dead. Do you want the guy next door that you work with because he ate the last donut dead? If you do, you might have some problems that are not related to the book. And the Try to Die one, that's just wrong, again, you know. And I just hate when books are not used right with the tropes. It happens all the time. Or like when it's like second chance romance, but they like actually had a good reason for breaking up. Or it's like just miscommunication. Like, I want you to label it properly so that people actually know what they're getting into. Or another one that really gets me is Grumpy Sunshine. I love the Grumpy Sunshine trope. The Grumpy Sunshine trope is my favorite romance trope. But I can't stand it when the guy is just like a flat out asshole. Like he's abusive. And they're like, Grumpy Sunshine. No, he's not grumpy. He's abusive. Why are we romanticizing that? Please don't call him grumpy. He's not just grumpy. He's literally an asshole. He's literally stalking you, cheating on you. He's a genuinely bad person. That's not grumpy. But grumpy is not like him being mean to her. Grumpy is him like not wanting to be around other people and like being super sweet to her. And I also like it when it's the other way around as well. Like, not the guy doesn't have to be the grumpy one. The girl can be the grumpy one as well. But I just don't like it when the grumpy person is actually just a bad person. Like, don't say that. Don't market it as that. I have literally DNF books before being like, what are you doing? That's not grumpy. That's call 911. So that's like the one part. Like, I don't like when they're misused. And the other way that I don't like it, when the entire book is just full of multiple tropes to check off a trope list, when it's like, it's got second chance romance, and miscommunication, and one bed trope, and second chance romance, and hometown romance. I'm like, good fucking lord. You don't need all of those tropes. I don't like when it's overdone. Like, you don't need it. To me, okay, it can be like a small romance, second chance romance, but like, I don't like when an author just fits all the tropes in to like hit a target audience and like hit as many audiences as possible. Pick an audience, write the book, and you'll be good. Like, especially because sometimes people like certain ones and they don't like the other ones. So like, say you wrote like a small town second chance romance with rivals to lovers and accidental pregnancy and miscommunication. Let's say someone hates accidental pregnancy. That means they're not going to like your book because you squashed all that in there. But they could have liked it if it was just second chance romance, small town. I'm talking from personal experience. That's just happened to me. This just happened to me with the cowboy romance that I read. The accidental pregnancy came out of nowhere, and it would have been a 5-star read if it wouldn't have happened to me. It came out of nowhere, it sideswept me, and I'm still traumatized. But I just think that sometimes books are like overstuffed with tropes, and it's not in a good way. Like, pick a trope, pick one or two tropes, you know, that's fine. Pick tropes that like go well together, you know, and it doesn't have, because if you put a bunch of tropes in, it makes it like really hard to follow. It makes it really overwhelming. Typically the romance isn't going to be good because you have so much in there that you're like, what's even going on? So that's my opinion on tropes. My opinion on romantasy. Okay, so romantasy as a genre is a big topic. No one knows what it is. Personally, I couldn't tell you. Like, it seems like everyone has a definition that's different than someone else's. To me, a romantasy is a book that is like, the romance is the main point and the fantasy is the second point. So like, a good example is like, if the romance is like 60% or higher of the book and the fantasy is like, you know, 40% or lower of the book, that's romantasy. Like, if it's like 90% romance, but it has like a magical garden, that is romantasy. It's like, you have enough fantasy elements to count it as fantasy, but it's not the main point. And then like, that's why I think romantasy, fantasy, and then fantasy romance are three separate genres. To me, they're three separate genres. Because fantasy means just fantasy, no romance at all. Fantasy romance means that fantasy is the main point and it has a romance subtext. And then romantasy means that romance is the main point and fantasy is a subtext. But some people disagree. Some people think that it's just like any fantasy with romance. It's all just combined. Anything that has romance and fantasy is just romantasy. I don't. I think to me it has to have at least like 60% romance. To me. If not higher. Like it literally has to be like romance and smut. And then like, you know, a decent amount of fantasy for it to be romantasy. And I do think it deserves to be a genre. Because some people don't want romance. Some people do want romance. And some people want both of them. It's like, I think it's actually a good thing. But I just don't like when things are shoved under romantasy that are not actually romantasy. Because it's been a big thing where, like, since romantasy is such a hot word that people like to use it for books when they're not actually using it the right way. That's a whole other argument of, like, why are we doing that? Like, there's been a couple of times I've been, like, recommended a romantasy and then I read it, I'm like, this wasn't a romantasy. This was just a fantasy with, like, crumbs of romance. Best example ever, The Cruel Prince. People have told me The Cruel Prince is romantasy. You will be sorely disappointed if you read The Cruel Prince thinking it's a romantasy. The Cruel Prince is like political fantasy with like maybe 10% romance in the entire series. It's like political fantasy with like enemies. I don't want to say lovers, like, but they're enemies and they become friends and they're kind of like, the romance is there, but it's like maybe this much. The romance is like this much. It's like crumbs. It's like you gotta use a magnifying glass to see it because it's simply not the point. So when people call The Cruel Prince romantasy, I'm like, what? To me, it's not. To me, it'd be fantasy romance. I don't even like to use that. I wouldn't even use the word romance when it comes to The Cruel Prince. It's like simply not the point. It's like so little of the point. It's like, I don't know. That's just my opinion. I'm getting so raveled up, but I'm just passionate about reading, you know? I'm passionate about what I think. And maybe you know me better. Maybe you don't like me anymore after this. That's fair if you don't. Yep, that's the end of the video. I hope that you've liked this and getting to know a little insight into me and my opinions. I'm a very opinionated person, but I do it in a polite and respectful way, typically. I just love also sharing my opinions. I think we're all so different and we all see things differently. I love hearing people's thoughts on things because they might not be the way that I think about it, but I can still respect them and they can give me insight into them and who they are. So I want to do this video so you can do the same thing. Like, maybe you don't understand, like, maybe you don't DNF, maybe you can get a respect of me for how I DNF. Like, I was like, man, it's been like 6 months. I'm trying to do more videos that give, like, insight into who I am. Because sometimes I feel like I get on here and I just, like, say my opinion with no backing. Or, like, any kind of background of who I am. I'm like, yeah, that book sucked! And then I'm like, moving on. Or that book's amazing, and then I move on. So I thought it would be fun for like anyone that is subscribed or anyone that comes across me, they can get an insight into who I am. And then if they have similar feelings, they can follow me. And if they don't have similar feelings, they can still follow me. They can just be respectful of my opinions. And I always like to be honest. I think that honesty is like the most important part of book 2. Because sometimes people say things that are not true. And they're saying it just because it's online. And I want to be as non-filtered as possible. I want to be honest. I want to tell you why a book sucks. I want to tell you why a book is great. I want you guys to know that I'm telling the truth. I think honesty is very important to me when it comes to making content on here. I'm not going to say anything just because I'm reading a book for so-and-so or just because it's an author that I like. If I read a book that I don't like by an author that I like, I'm still going to tell you that it sucks. But I'm still going to be able to like that author. So I wanted to get like some groundwork. I'm trying to build up the May lore that you guys have. So yeah, that's the whole point of this video. I've been trying to make a couple of these of like just getting some more information on me out there so you guys can have a better understanding of me and my reading and just this channel. So yeah, this is it. I will see you guys in the next video. This is a special one. This is coming out on a Wednesday, which feels weird. But I just didn't have a place for it, and I also wanted to put it out as close to my 6-month anniversary of making YouTube videos as close as possible. So it's going out on like a Wednesday. And yeah, I hope that you guys have really enjoyed this, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye!